Hey guys, welcome to the Off Duty podcast, the one-stop shop where we talk love, work, pleasure, and how we are going to create the lives that we desire.
So, grab a beverage, get cozy, and let's get ready for today's conversation. Good evening, Penny.
Hello.
How are we?
I am alive, kicking, slightly more rested than I was last time I was sat behind a mic.
Love that for you.
Today was my first day back at work after a few days off.
Lovely. How are you a few days off?
I was having a conversation today. We had this conversation multiple times, but I think I want to be like, I aspire to be somebody's girlfriend. Like, you know those people who, let me be specific about the type of girlfriend that they are. So I'm a girlfriend to a person who has a lot of money, and like I work as well, and I earn like a good amount of money, but my money isn't for bills. It's they'll be like, it's for shopping and household bits. It's yours. It's our money, and I use it to like do surprise getaways for his birthday and all these things. That's what I'm praying to be.
I wish for it for you, girl. I wish for it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. But time away was just so much fun. So much, not fun. It was needed. It was needed, but I just feel like it's like, you know, the little, when it just scratches. It doesn't even scratch. It just kisses the surface of the burnout that I'm feeling. That I think it was needed, and I think I just need to get back into the swing of things and kind of just like finish this last leg.
Yeah, true. It's the last leg.
So yeah, how's your week been?
My week has been, I'm trying to think. Do you know sometimes when I think of week, I'm like, wait, is it Thursday to Thursday? Is it? And then I'm like, wait, no, the podcast is. But anyway,
it's whatever you want it to be.
My week has been. It's been okay, to be honest. It's been fine. It's been fine. Today's been rough. Today's been rough, but we made it.
Tomorrow's Friday.
Tomorrow's Friday. I'm gonna see my mama, and we're gonna watch some FBI because I love cop shows.
Cute.
One of the highlights of this week was seeing all the black media around the Montgomery Brawl, if I think is what it's been called.
Oh my gosh!
That whole thing that happened in Montgomery. It was a huge fight, realistically. I literally just woke up in the morning, minding my very own business, and I went on TikTok, as I do.
Not TikTok.
You know these things. I'd be on TikTok.
First thing in the morning.
I went on TikTok and I was seeing all this stuff about black people and like
chairs fight about.
Girl, those bloody foldable chairs. And I went onto Twitter. And it was on that I was seeing loads and loads of videos. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go back on TikTok. Then I went onto YouTube. It was a ball. It was a ball.
A ball or a brawl?
Both. So that was very entertaining to watch, to be honest. And not, I guess entertaining is not really the right word, but I think
it's entertaining. It
was entertaining, but more than entertaining, I think it was one of them. It was one of those moments of just like collective black, almost catharsis, I feel, because I think
like the Avengers assembling together.
Exactly. And I feel like a lot of the times when white people attack black people, even as a group, as a gang, they were attacking that singular black man, trying to do his job, by the way, not doing anything wrong. Yeah. It almost always ends up in death or serious injury. And it's like this, in this one instance, everything aligned. He threw the cap in the air.
Screaming.
All the black people assembled.
Screaming.
It made all the sense.
It was the man swimming across the lake.
Dude, that was. I've heard that that's a 16-year-old boy.
Not a six. This is the stupid things we talk about. You know, you know your like brothers, boys. First of all, what are you doing in a lake? You could drown.
Clearly, he could swim.
It was just, yeah.
It was just a beautiful moment of like black people finally having like I saw this video where she was saying she was just like, it was like a moment where black people were reacting to the violence in an appropriate way most of the time, as they always do.
Yeah.
And them not being killed for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's true.
It was just like a moment where you could react without fear of losing your life.
Well, yeah.
Well, that wasn't the consequence anyway.
Yeah, because people be crazy. People be pulling out all sorts of things from nowhere.
That part.
And you know what? It's a good thing, like, because if that was police that was involved in like managing the whole thing, definitely someone would have ended up dead.
Girl.
Someone would have ended up dead.
But they didn't, and that's the beautiful thing. And hashtag pro black.
Screaming.
But yeah, that was a very. I mean, it's low-key, it's still happening. There's like the whole songs are happening. Oh my goodness, I wish I could play it. Oh my god, let me find it right now. On TikTok called Not Wildin'. So it's NOTWILDIL. NOTWILDLIN. He did this like description of like the events that happened from the point of view of the hat. It sounds ridiculous, but it's one of the most beautiful. It was so he wrote it so well, he delivered it so well. I'm gonna just like put it in like, I don't know, I'll put it on Twitter.
Screaming.
I'll like save. How do you do it? How would I do it?
I have no clue. Maybe just you'll have to share it on like we'll have to make a highlight on our Instagram
with saved TikToks.
Yeah.
Or videos or
bits
and saved bits, saved just like social media bits.
True.
Because it was. I'm gonna send it to you. If I didn't send it to you, but it is so honestly, it's so just amazing. Like black people are truly just amazing.
Ain't that right?
Anyway.
Ain't that right?
Yeah.
Also, in other great news, Tory Lanez was sentenced to 10 years in jail.
I've been seeing that.
I just seen a tweet that was like, if you're a true Tory Lanez fan, you'll go to jail with this.
Screaming.
When you think about it, they make a fair point, because why? We won't dwell on it too much, but good on Meg.
Yep.
Justice was served.
Justice for Meg.
Yeah.
End of story. Hallelujah.
End of story.
Good
Honestly.
for her. I hope she's okay.
Honestly.
We love you, Meg.
Honestly. So, for today, I don't know whether you want to do the love notes first or play a game of Would You Rather.
I think we should do the Would You Rather first.
I think so, because then it doesn't disrupt the flow.
Yes.
Okay, so.
Oh no. I'm so indecisive, so this is honestly like one of the worst people.
It's a quick fire Would You Rather as well.
I'm like one of the
You've
worst
got
people.
5 seconds to make a decision.
Oh no.
Okay.
Don't put me under pressure. You're gonna make it worse.
We're gonna go for the hard questions.
Okay.
Ooh. Would you rather accidentally send a naughty picture to your dad or your boss?
Oh my god, stop.
Depends on what the picture is.
My father or my boss?
Your father or your boss?
I don't even know. I'm like,
what do you mean?
I don't know. I just feel like if I send it to my boss, it's like I can just say I can apologize profusely, and hopefully she'll just let it go. I feel like hopefully she would. I couldn't send it to my dad.
You couldn't send it to your dad. So it's your boss then? Your boss?
But what? I'm putting my job at risk.
Screaming.
What would you do? Okay, I think. Oh no. What would I pick?
I feel like your boss is something that you can easily like get away from. But if you send it to your dad, you have to look them in the eye for the rest of your life.
Oh my god.
It's the same way when you tell your parents that you're pregnant and then you're like, oh my god. So, are you going for your boss?
I'd have to. You have to.
Okay, so next question. Would you rather give up sex or give up food? I don't think that's hard though.
That's also impossible.
What do you mean?
What do you mean give up food?
That's what I mean. So you give up sex.
You have to eat to survive. It's not really a choice. It's not that hard, to be honest.
That's what I was thinking. It's not well thought through.
Yeah.
This is a stereotypical terrible one. Would you rather walk in on your parents having sex or have them walking on you having sex?
I'd rather walk in on them having sex.
Yeah.
I can deal with that. Go to therapy and all that.
Screaming.
I couldn't live it down. Wouldn't. That's worse than a picture. If they walked in on me, literally having sex, I could not do it. I'd have to pass away.
Yikes.
That would be a lot. What would you do?
That would be a lot.
What would you?
I just burn myself. I just take myself to the crib.
You've got to pick. That's the point.
Okay, so I would rather walk in on them.
Yeah. I feel like that's the correct answer.
Because I can't even, I feel like walking in on your parents is something that even as part of childhood, it's something that you kind of like, it can happen. Mm-hmm. It's a likelihood.
Yeah.
Whereas like them walking on you, there's so many different like layers.
Yeah.
Actually, unless you live at your parents' home, but even then, there's so many.
You having sex in your parents' home with them home?
Yikes! Scary.
That's not likely to be me, but anyway.
Screaming, not with the thin balls. Your mom's house.
Girl. Girl.
First of all.
First and foremost.
Okay, number 2. Number 4. Would you rather be stuck in a phone box? This is hard, actually. With 10 snakes.
Oh my god.
Or 10 tarantulas.
Oh my god. It'd have to be tarantulas. I would die. Before I even got into the phone box, I would die looking at the snakes. My heart would stop. It'd have to be tarantulas. I can stamp on them.
Did I ever tell you about the time I saw a snake?
Oh my god.
In real life? Have you heard this story about those snakes that would be in the toilet and they go up people's bones?
Do you know that's a fear I have?
Doesn't everyone have that?
I hope so, because it's a real fear to have.
Bruh.
I don't think my bumhole, I think my coochie.
Screaming.
I got scared.
Nah. I don't... Even, the thing is, like, do you know, they're both just as bad as each other, but I don't even feel like I'd sleep after being in a thing with 10 tarantulas.
I don't feel like they're as bad as each other.
No, for sure. Snakes are worse. Okay, so would you rather say your ex's name during sex? There's a lot of sex in this. Or your partner's...
I thought you weren't doing the dirty ones.
I'm not. I'm doing the hard questions. Or your partner's best friend's name.
My partner's best friend
name.
I feel like it'd have to be ex.
Yeah.
That one's salvageable. The best friend.
Yeah, you can't come back from that.
You can't come back from that.
Because what did you say? By accident. Yikes. Okay. This is so weird.
Go on.
I feel like that's rude. I'm not going to read it. Okay. Would you rather be funny but really stupid or boring and really smart? Who wrote these?
I feel like I'd rather have friends, so probably funny.
Screaming.
Being intellectually smart is not all there is to life.
True.
if I'm boring and lonely, if I'm smart and lonely, like it's not really serving me that much, personally.
Yikes. Okay, so last one.
What would you rather? Would you rather be dumb but funny, or boring but smart?
I definitely think funny, because like your reasons as well. Would you rather?
Yes.
This is horrible.
Oh no.
Would you rather let a crusty old man drink milk from your belly button every day for a year, or drink milk out of a crusty old man?
I'd rather him drink out of me. I mean, you know what I mean.
That is disgusting.
What would you rather? What would you?
If he's the thought of his lips on my belly.
Nah, but Penny, if he's crusty, imagine how crusty his belly button is, and you're having to stick your tongue, and then suck.
Yikes! But then, like, if you think about it, you might be building your immunity.
No thanks. I would rather not. I've been through COVID. I'll be okay.
I'm screaming. Oh, I don't know that the thought.
It's pretty cringe either way. I just feel like if I was drinking it from his belly button, it would be marginally worse for me. Because that wouldn't be just milk. It would be debris.
When's the last time you washed your belly button?
Today. Just then when I showered.
You make a reasonable point. Yeah, I think him drinking from him drinking from my belly button. I just can't.
You can clean it, and it's not a year is a long time, but after that year, that's it.
What do you get from it?
What do you mean?
I'm just trying to make the question bigger than what it actually is. Anywho, that's the end of our Would You Rather questions.
Thank you for finding those.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Into the love notes from the algorithm. Is your love note connected to
this week's episode?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, then I'll go first because mine is not.
Go on.
Okay. So mine is a quote. It's a William Shakespeare quote.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the antidote from Tumblr.
Screaming. I was going to, but then I thought, let me be different. Let me pull a Debbie.
Screaming.
Let me pull a Debbie and let me be different. It looks like it's in my quote thingy. It looks like it was more of a poem as opposed to something to say. Anyway, it says, when I saw you, I fell in love, and you smiled because you knew. And I just thought it was really pretty and really beautiful, and we love love.
We love love.
We love love.
That's so cute.
It is really cute, and I wish I could show you how it's like just like the paragraphs of it. I don't know. I like the structure. I like how it looks. I like how it looks.
That's lovely.
Lovely jobs. What about you? What's your love note from the algorithm?
So, my love note for this week is from Twitter.
I think you mean X.
Oh my gosh. Only 90s kids will remember.
Girl.
The simulation is simulating.
Do you know how many times I've scrolled past it looking for Twitter?
Screaming.
Do you know when you pull down and you type in Twitter and it was showing that thing and I was just typing, I was like, where is Twitter?
Is this gonna be forever?
I hope not, but probably.
There's no way this whole thing is gonna stay forever.
It just all seems like.
It all seems like a bad joke. Anywho. So I guess because I found this screenshot from years back. So technically, it's from Twitter.
Okay. I I see it.
You know?
I see it.
So, it says, give me a second. One thing I learned last year is that a quick break doesn't fix burnout. Recreating better systems for you to integrate more joy plus ease into your life does. So this is from somebody called Jasmine Easter _
Nice.
And I think it's quite fitting for today's conversation. Where we're going to be talking about like energy and all that good stuff. All that good stuff.
And rest.
And rest. And yeah.
So I guess we'll just jump right into it.
Go on.
First.
Take it away.
Take it away, Arne. I'm rewatching Harry Potter right now, and that specific statement came up, and I was just so shocked that that's where it originated. I hope it's not.
Screaming.
If it's not, let me know. Anyway, into the pod huddle.
Oh yes. I feel like this is the first time I've ever said the pod huddle.
It's definitely
in a while.
Not. Okay, in a while, probably. I thought you were gonna say that for like ever.
Screaming.
I was like, I don't think so.
Maybe it's because I'm not recorded in a while.
Perhaps.
Anywho, as you were saying, sorry.
Yeah. So we're gonna talk about rest and energy, and I don't know about you, Pens, but I seem to be tired all the bloody time. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's work. I don't know if it's the 9 to 5. I don't know if it's all that jazz. The overexposure of like just news and being exposed to news all the time and all the social media and all the opinions and all the bad things that are happening and everything all at once. I've not said that one in a while. But I am just tired all the time. I can't lie. I'm tired a lot. It's a lot because like I really do be waking up, and if I'm not tired immediately, I'm tired a few hours after I wake up. Apparently, I'm not iron deficient, so like you can cancel that out of your head.
Don't be getting ideas.
I be eating my spinach.
Taking her vitamins. I was about to say a vitamin, but I don't know which one. So let me be quiet.
I want to say it's B12. I'm joking. I mean, shut up.
Screaming.
Anyway, and to be honest, I don't think it is just me who's tired. I feel like we talk about it sometimes, and a lot of people generally, I feel like, are tired right now, and I'm thinking it's not just physical, right?
Is it giving Mercury retrograde?
It's giving. My friend literally, she was like, Mercury in the microwave, and I was like, yep, exactly. Someone destroy the microwave, smash it to bits.
Not the mercury in the microwave.
So yeah, whilst we can agree that a lot of us are tired, I think it's also important to figure out like what kind of tired you are. I think that's a conversation that is happening a lot right now, at least like within my own algorithm.
Yeah, I agree.
We're trying to figure out, we're learning about all the different types of rest and the different types of tired that we can be, and we thought that would be a really cool topic to kind of talk about today. Yeah. So we're gonna just kind of go through it. We broke it down into so while we're doing our research for it, there's the prevalent kind of, I think, discourse around it is this idea that there's 7 different types of rest. This was what's the word?
The literature? This is the main themes? I don't know.
Like the person who kind of, I think, categorized it into these 7 things, who is credited to do it anyway, is this person called Sandra Dalton Smith.
Oh.
She wrote a book and like it became like a thing. So we're gonna just talk about all the 7 different types of rest.
Yeah. And I think it's also really important to kind of appreciate how times have changed. Like, I think so many people tend to say like Gen Z are so lazy. Gen Z are like, basically they refer to us as lazy, and people don't work as hard. Yes, we're not.
Are you claiming Gen Z title completely? You're not a millennial.
I'm just me.
I'm just trying to be me.
I'm just trying to be me.
Say style.
Like, I don't know. People be fighting over these titles and labels, but like, I'm just me. Like, I'm wherever the wind blows me. I think back in the day, when people were literally outside, who was it that I was having this conversation with? I think it was my friend that I went to dinner with over the weekend, and they were saying how back in the day, men will be out working, right?
Not the quotes.
They were doing something. Men will
working my last nerve. I'm joking.
Let's be frank and let's be Lampard. They still do that now. That's the only good thing they consistently stay doing. While men were out working, there'd be somebody at home. Do you know what I mean? There'd be somebody at home tending to like the housework. There'd be somebody at home doing all these different things. But God, why have we as women got to be hunter-gatherers and also come home and also do those things?
Yeah.
And like, you know, this whole thing, it's crazy because whilst the equality and the rights have come for the women, it's just...
To some extent,
these men have just, I don't know whether like some men have just become so like dense, and they think, I'm out working hard, and they don't think they think that the hard work stops at the office, and they come back and it's like... So anyway, my point is, the things that we are encountering, the things that are making us like exhausted, like as you're saying that there's different types of rest, we are experiencing different hardships from what like our ancestors and say our mothers and parents were dealing with prior. And so we need to kind of like acknowledge that, not be easier, like be nicer to ourselves, and actually recognize that this is
we've got just different struggles.
Yeah, we've got different struggles. And I think for my own example, something I was actually writing this morning was when we for example, as a black woman, I think something that I've been learning in these last few months, I'm a really hyper independent person. I like to do things by myself. And so right now I'm also trying to consciously try to figure out what rest means for me. Because in the past, like when I say I've gone through a hardship, I've kind of just thrown myself into work and like overworked. And then when I've overworked, I've traveled, but I've never stayed still to experience, like, just let my body just be and just be in the present moment. And so, and I'm sure even like so many different black people, so many black women have that same experience, because we're not given that grace to actually acknowledge that we're doing so much, and actually we're giving out so much energy. And I think even to show up just as a black woman, especially in spaces where, say, in white spaces, it takes so much out of you, because you need to make sure that your hair's a certain way, you're talking in a certain way, you don't offend such a body, you don't come across as aggressive. And it's like, then you have to also show up and be a sister and be wear all these different hats. And then what do you have left for yourself, really? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, I went off on a tangent there. But yeah.
I feel like we're going to come back to that when we're talking about emotional rest.
Yeah.
Because that's a really big part in terms of like, let's not get into it. We'll get into it when we talk about emotional rest.
We could start there and then just follow through the rest of it.
True.
As you were saying, emotional rest.
As you were saying, like, we do have all these different identities, and like for us, we are black women, and we have we hold just so many people within us, different roles, sister, within our family. We are different people to different, we have different relationship dynamics, and with our friends, with our family, with strangers. At work, a lot of us are in like customer facing roles, right?
Yeah.
And so we constantly kind of have to put on this mask almost. And a lot of the time we don't react in the way that perhaps we would. And that's not to say that you want to react impulsively, but perhaps you hold yourself back a lot more than you would otherwise if you were not in such a position. And to your point, especially when you work in like very white spaces or non-black spaces, all of that stuff, you're kind of just like almost like putting a lid on like a really high pressure sort of tank, and that is exhausting.
Yeah,
it's really exhausting. And yeah, so like with it, I think what am I trying to say?
I think especially since like you're working there, 80% of your time is spent there.
Yeah, we spend a lot of time at work. Most of our time is at work, unfortunately.
That is scary.
Isn't that a slap in the face? In case you forgot.
Screaming. That's why I just want to be a girlfriend.
And I think also like, as back to this idea that we are so like kind of overexposed to everything on like social media, especially like being part of a marginalized group, as we could only speak for the Black experience, obviously. You see so many like deaths online and people recording them, and it's like I can see why that's important, for like for evidence of things and stuff like that, but constantly reliving this like level of trauma, this kind of like heightened fear. And then also if you think about, we've just come out of COVID and like all the stress that people were literally afraid that we're all going to die.
Yeah.
You could not go outside. People were buying up all the bloody toilet paper.
Not the toilet paper.
And like even after that, like all of the effects of that brought, like with increased like financial like responsibilities, the fact that the government doesn't give a ish, like all of these things are just so draining for us emotionally. Because we have to kind of carry on, and that we don't even have dependents. We don't even have to hold space for like children, right? And like for me, actually for you as well, who work in healthcare, I work in mental health, so like a big part of my role is like creating space and like a space that people feel safe and brave to talk about their like emotions and their experiences and stuff like this. And most of us do that for other people as well, and it's like that is all taxing, like it's like at all angles, like it's a lot.
And I don't know how you feel about like, I think another aspect that I think creates a lot of emotional burden for me personally is the racism that exists within health. And while we're people that work in health, but it's just that knowledge that even though we're providing such good services, people who look like us will never get this good service. Something that's a big fear of mine. Like whenever a friend of mine tells me like they're pregnant, I'm like overjoyed. But I have this impending fear that they'll like, I don't even want to say it, but like I just have such a horrible fear, and it's so crippling.
Yeah.
It's so crippling, and I just hate that like these are all things that you obviously you get on with life and it's at the back of your mind and like yada get on with it.
Yeah.
But it's every time that we have to go, not even every time, just all these newspaper articles like you're saying, seeing all these constant articles that such and such a black woman, this happened to a black woman when they went to go give birth, and it's like, I want to have children one day, but is that even something that's a possibility? And how do you even switch that off? Do you know what I mean? How do you
You can't switch off. We use this like analogy at work when you're talking about like stress, and we call it like a stress bucket. and we talk about it a lot of the time when we are trying to, like, I guess, talk about, to use that word again, coping strategies, and how certain people, right, you have all of the stresses and you're kind of leaking all of this water in this bucket, and coping strategies are what kind of blocks us up and helps you refill this bucket so that it is at a good level. But for us as, like, as Black women and people who experience all these different things that we just discussed, we have all of these holes, some of them small, a lot of them gaping, and it's just like you're just gushing water all the time, just gushing. And when we don't utilize rest, and when we don't understand, because that's a big part of it as well, when we don't really know what type of tide that we are to then help to address that specific thing, then we just keep gushing. And of course we have mental breakdowns.
And you know, the thing is, it doesn't help that we come from families of, like, I'm grateful for like the example that our mums are, but they're such hardworking women, but they've never normalized, like, rest as part of their routine. Like, it's never been an example that this is what I do with my friends, and, like, actually they're doing a lot better at it in their older ages. However,
I was about to say that same thing.
Growing up, like, because at the end of the day, these ideas are formed while we're younger. The things that we're performing and the things that we're doing, they're all formed while we're younger. And if we had those examples of people, like, saying, do you know what, I'm mentally going through a lot, then we would also be able to acknowledge that this is mentally challenging. Yeah. We can't do this.
Yeah, it's true. And so I guess to move on to how do we emotionally rest?
Oh, yes.
So depending on, like, what it is for you, everything that we're going to say is very much like you have to personalize it to.
How do you emotionally rest, Danny?
First and foremost.
First of all, she about to dish out some advice. Sprinkle.
Well, the first thing that I'm trying to do a lot more is just kind of, like, be more honest about my feelings. And I feel like I talk about a lot, but it's, like, a big thing for me, right? So it's just trying to, like, be more open with my feelings, and not kind of have it just tied up within me, basically. And I think that's something that a lot of us can employ. Just like it's even just like when someone asks you, how are you?
Don't even trigger me.
I instinctually always say fine, and as soon as I say it, I'm like, that's not true.
But the thing is the person even wanting to know how you are?
It's true. No, that's it. And I think that's an important, like, remark to make, because, like, obviously you can't go around telling every single person how you feel, because it's not always in an appropriate place. Yeah. It's not always an appropriate space to do it, like, with that person, like, emotionally. Yeah. It's not safe. Did I just say that? I don't know if I just said that, but so for some people, they might not even have that like trusted other to be able to have that conversation. So in those instances, like, stuff like journaling is really helpful. Just kind of like getting it out of your, like, system in that way.
Maybe we should also, whilst I'm making the point of, like, does a person really want to know? Maybe it's important to just kind of be like, are you not are you sure, but kind of wording it in a way where you're like, I have a moment. Are you actually okay? Are you at peace? You know, kind of being intentional. Yeah. About asking people, because I think I'm guilty of asking people, oh, how are you? And we all say I'm fine, but nobody's fine, because everybody's like, when you talk to everyone,
if we all in the same place, you're not fine.
We, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
But I remember, like, when I was in my old job, this person, they were literally walking past me. It's like, yeah, I'm fine, I'm all right. And I'm like, I didn't even ask.
Bruh.
I'm like, cool, good to hear it, love. Love that for you.
Girl, one time I asked someone, I knew they were going on annual leave. So I was like, oh, have a good annual leave. They was like, fine, thank you. I didn't even say anything. I just kept walking. I was like, okay.
Cool.
You clearly didn't even, like, hear what I said. But, like, I put it out there. I hope you have a good time. Clearly you need it. But yeah, processing our emotions whilst it might initially be in the short term quite uncomfortable, pretty difficult. In the long term, it's always, not always, but we hope that it is cathartic, and I think most of the time that is what kind of is the result.
Yeah.
Other things we can do are try to minimize stressful situations. Sometimes just pick your battles.
Choose peace.
Choose peace for real. Like, if you know your battery's low, if you know that you are not at least half capacity, almost nearly to the full, just like, if you can table it.
Screaming. Worries.
Just table it.
To be fair, there are people, sorry to cut you off, there are
okay.
people who always say that, like, you should always make a list of, like, important and urgent.
Yeah.
Important and not, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Urgent but not important.
Yeah. Another thing is, sorry, 1 second, scroll past it. Having some alone time, sometimes that's helpful. Spending time in nature, you're away from people, connecting to something greater, which we'll come back to again in another type of rest. But figuring out how you communicate your boundaries and like steeling yourself to be strong in keeping them. And what I mean by that is knowing, like, something that really revealed something in me. Like, I had like this epiphany when I heard this person talking about how with boundaries are not for other people, they're for yourself, in that someone else isn't going to keep your boundary for you. You have to keep it for yourself. So like, if you say my boundary is don't ask me about this, you have to be ready to say, if they ask you about it, if they cross that boundary, you are walking away. Yeah. And that can be really difficult, but that will be part of maintaining a safe emotional space for you, maintaining that, or regaining that rest for yourself emotionally. I think that's an important one.
Definitely.
Taking breaks from social media.
I feel like we say that a lot, but I don't feel like we actually enforce it. I personally don't enforce it.
I don't know in the last no, that's a lie. I'm a TikTok girly. I could take more social media rests.
Yeah.
Breaks even.
Yeah. Who was it that I was talking to? But I think it was our friend, and she was basically like, "You're not busy enough." I was like,
"What do you mean?"
As in, like,
why are you cursing at me?
I'm screaming.
Why are you swearing?
I'm screaming. As in, instead of working on those ventures and those dreams that you should be working towards, you're too busy scrolling. It's like, okay, you make a fair point.
I think a good one from there might be social rest.
Yeah.
A good one to go on from there is social rest, I feel.
Yeah.
And again, this is just, if we kind of just talk about that idea again, that a lot of us are in very customer-facing roles, and you know the vibes are all there, having to deal with so many people, too much, so many different personalities, trying to maintain this idea of professionalism. It's draining.
No, it is.
And some of the ways that we can rest in with this particular type of exhaustion is stuff like having solo hikes, doing some solo dates, doing self-care, whether that means maybe it's like face masks, maybe it's like, I don't know, like whatever it is for you. Self-care. Also like figuring out when your social battery's low, or when it's reaching that low mode, what's it called? Power saving mode.
Screaming.
And knowing to dip and like take care of yourself. I feel like a lot of people do have FOMO. I thank God I don't really have FOMO. I feel like when I don't want to go to something, I'm good. Do you know what I mean? But I know
depends on what it is.
It does depend on what it is.
And who is there. I will be honest. I'm few blessings. Not few blessings. I have many blessings. Thank you very much. Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of people do struggle with FOMO, and I think working through that would also be helpful for social battery, for the social battery. And again, the idea of like figuring out how to like communicate that to the people that that we are in a lot of proximity with. So like if you have like a partner, for example, that you live with or something, or you live with your family or your housemates, and perhaps you're used to spending a lot of time together, figuring out how to communicate that. Actually, I love you, but like right now, stay the hell away from me, you know?
Yeah.
At the same time, it doesn't just mean being alone.
Yeah.
It can also just mean being around people that pour into you in a similar way, right?
Yeah.
Pour into you, support you. I feel like everyone has people that when they spend time with them, they feel a little bit less, you know, like a little bit more drained. And there's people who you spend time with and you feel like I feel a lot more rejuvenated. So like maybe figuring out that, and that might not even be like this person yes, this person no. It might be like at specific times for specific things. So just like understanding that would also be really helpful.
Definitely.
Yeah. Social rest ultimately means that we have the capacity to kind of stay connected with the people that we love.
Yeah. True. I think for me, social. Sorry.
No.
I think for me, social rest. You know, that idea of like being alone.
Yeah.
That's definitely what social rest is for me.
Wow.
I love having people over, but sometimes, like, even to my own detriment, I'm like, I want to be around people, but then, like, the following day, like, for the following, like, 3 weeks, the weeks after it, I'm just like, yikes.
Yeah.
That was too much. Too much.
Sometimes socially rest.
Sometimes be alone.
Sometimes don't make those plans and sit at home and drink your tea.
Bruh. Honestly.
The next type of rest we're going to talk about is, I feel like, one of the most obvious ones, which is like physical rest.
Yes.
Yeah.
So 10 points for who can guess what this type of rest is. 10 points for you, Danny, if you can get this.
Is it sleep?
Yeah, you're right.
10 points to Gryffindor.
So physical rest as we know it takes many forms. It's literally like sitting down if like you're working. I remember when I was a nurse on the NICU, I would be on my feet all day. Sitting down, just literally taking time. But one of the most important ways that we can physically rest is sleep. And I feel like we take sleep for granted. There's a person that I was briefly with at some point. And they had like a routine and they had like a specific bedtime and all these things. And I was like, ew, that's not fun. Like, how do you have fun? Be spontaneous. Do you?
Now look at you.
Get me to bed by 10:30 the same time every day because me can't. So I think we take sleep for granted, which it's not to say that sleep is something that's easy to come by either, because there's, as I was reading up on this whole thing of sleep, there's so many different like steps that you need to take. And one of the quotes that has stood out for me about sleep was that it starts the day before, which is like so true, because if you're not sleeping at a timely manner, your whole day, you're already gone. It's already written.
Not written.
Not already written, but it's kind of a bad thought to be starting off on. So when I was reading up about like sleep hygiene, sleep hygiene basically involves creating like a sleep routine which helps you wind down and kind of just prepare yourself for the art that is sleeping.
Art it is.
So some of the things advice that I came across was that
tips and pointers
for you young people. First one is meditation.
Nice.
Meditation involves meditating, but in bed.
Oh, who would have thought?
Who would have thunk it? But just meditating and just winding down.
Yeah.
For me, I've been trying to like make sure I don't eat after 7 p.m. Which is quite hard to enforce depending on how like my work day's been and all the other things that happen. But just kind of like setting a set time where you stop drinking caffeine during the day. I think there's a lot of conflicting research.
Yeah.
However, ultimately, don't be silly. Don't drink. I'm not saying don't drink alcohol before going to bed.
You drinking alcohol before bed?
I'm so dead. But I'm saying like, you know when you go like say for a night out,
No,
you're gonna obviously be having a good time.
For sure.
But basically there was something that was saying don't drink caffeine after midday because that caffeine stays in your system for hours.
Yeah.
Also just creating like the correct environment in your room.
Yeah.
Not having screens in your room, not having like TVs. Many people, to be fair, nowadays it's hard. It's so hard because people are living like shared accommodations, all these different things, and so their room is also, there's so many. Our room is not just a bedroom. It's so many other things that cannot be helped.
That part.
But things that you can do is having curtains, having like essential oils, having good pillows, clean linen, trying to read before bed. I usually try if I'm on my phone in my bed, I'll try and put on those like blue light. Those glasses that block out the blue light.
Yeah.
Someone said that you shouldn't force sleep. So if it's not coming to you, just try reading or listening to music.
Yeah.
They talk about having a balanced diet.
Yeah.
Which again, try your level best because we're in a cost of living crisis and it's not as black and white as that.
Yeah. And
just avoiding foods with like stimulants such as like caffeine, nicotine, alcohol. And yeah, how do you try and physically? What are some of your bedtime routines?
I think the one that you've talked about a lot is reading.
Sleep.
Is reading. I've also like more like recently. There's this particular. Let me find it. There's this particular. It's like a Spotify artist. It's not a playlist. On Spotify, if you type in anxiety melt, there's this mindfulness meditation for sleep, and it's literally just like she speaks for the first bit. Anyway, I just always skip that bit, and then it's just like the sounds. I try to do that as well, especially when I can't sleep, or I'm struggling to sleep, which to be fair is not that.
And you know, if you do like a lot of research into sleep, there's certain vitamins that you can take that might not get you to sleep easier, but they improve the quality of sleep that you are getting.
Because that part is
sleep, because we can all sleep, but what quality of sleep are you getting?
Yeah,
that's
not all of us can sleep, girl. Ciao.
There's a little thing that I had in like a goodie bag from years ago. It's this spray. I don't know whether it's got lavender in it or what, but when I sprayed that on my pillow, it was life changing.
Yeah. There's so much connections with like with our senses and like memory and all of these different things. Brain, not brain, lol.
Yeah, brain activity.
Having also like I think sometimes when we're like on holiday I don't know. Sometimes when if maybe you're a student or something, and you can have like long periods of time when you're not maybe studying or something, you might be in bed all day, or you might be like on the couch all day. And part of sleep, like you said, it can also be about making sure you're doing things in the day, like you having that, those actual activities, and you have like some sort of structure.
Definitely.
So that when you actually do get to bed, you're physically tired to be able to sleep. And on top of all of that as well, I think a part of physical rest can also be just literally stretching and going on walks, just like making sure that our muscles aren't like tired and they are stretched appropriately, and you know we're feeling just like physically better. So like having massages is part of physical rest and
definitely.
Yeah, it's just basically allowing our muscles like ample time to recover, and that can mean just engaging in restorative activities. So that includes sleep, but it can also include just like stretching, walking, massages, all those little bits and bobs. Yeah. Cuddles. Oh, I'd love a good cuddle, babe.
Cuddles.
And I think we kind of touched on senses.
Sensory.
Yeah,
rest.
In terms, yeah, because we talked about like kind of like the sprays which can help.
Yeah.
You know, like lavender, eucalyptus, that kind of stuff. It helps with.
Okay. Something that I wrote about sensory rest. I feel like we're living in a generation which requires like a lot of our attention. Like not even just literally one of our senses. Every single thing. Our senses are literally just heightened and on overdrive. And I feel like I'd say my taste buds have become like, muted because of like how much, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I just think because of how overstimulated they are, nothing even like, when you taste something and it's like, ooh, this tastes new. It doesn't even, nothing like
tantalizes.
Nothing tantalizes like my taste buds. But anyway, in terms of sensory rest, and a form of sensory rest that I do is floating.
Yeah.
And basically that's going into like a magnesium tub essentially, where you float for like an hour and it's dark, it's quiet, and I just think it's so needed, and I wish everybody could access it, or even like just having all your senses just switched off, because that's just something that we just don't get, especially while we live in especially in a city. When you open your window, it's not like you're hearing birds and stuff, you're hearing traffic. You know what I mean? When you're breathing the air, you're breathing
smog. Actually, we don't live in London, so no.
Screaming.
We live up north, darlings. We've got trees up here.
Screaming. But you know what I mean? And that's why it's so important. Like when it comes to sensory rest, yes, it's not just like going into like a flotation device. It's going on those hikes, but going in hikes where it's out of your own like environment. Go to a place where it's literally just trees. Don't even put your headphones in. Listen to nature. Listen to like the streams, the birds, the natural sounds that actually exist. I feel like we're just so disconnected from like all of that stuff. It seems so far away and out of reach, but just try and find it.
Yeah. I hear it.
Also, spending time in silence. I also found that there was someone that was saying a form of sensory rest is wearing light clothing, which I can not light clothing per se, but wearing like just loose fitting clothing that's like your whole body's just being able to breathe.
Yeah.
Because I'm guilty of it. I love me a tight jean.
Screaming.
If I can sit and move in it, what do you mean? I don't want it. It's not comfortable. I don't know. I don't feel sexy.
Girl, tight jeans, high ass heels.
High heels.
Chilling.
The whole lot.
She looks good, but damn.
She needs sensory rest.
I feel like part of it as well though could be like stuff like weighted blankets, as opposed to like lightness. Perhaps what you need is touch. And so like sensory blankets might be useful and helpful.
Oh, and they offer a lot of those like yogas where they involve like animals and things. Go into one of those, like puppy yoga.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how ethical that whole thing is, but who knows? Not my business.
Not your business.
Yeah, and I think that's a good segue into also cognitive rest.
Okay.
So I found a blog by somebody called Dina Deborah, and they were basically saying that we need to pay attention to the rest deficits, because it's a key part of being able to be productive, to be a hamster in the hamster wheel.
Yikes. It's actually painful.
Yikes. So they were basically saying if you're exhausted, you can't do your best work. Duh.
And look at all of us exhausted.
If you're not getting the right type of rest, you're not going to be able to get past the exhaustion. And in a day and age of where remote work is so common, it's hard to distinguish between work and personal life as it's blurred into one.
Yeah.
So having an awareness of what type of rest that you need allows you to create the correct response to it, and so that you're actually you're actually doing what it needs to do. Because even though sleep might not cut it, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if you're mentally just not well, you're gonna sleep and wake up to the same problems.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And so with cognitive rest, I came across this thing called positive constructive daydreaming, and this was I think the person that championed it was Jerome Singer, but I feel like there's a lot of people who have probably talked about the same thing, and
there's a lot of contributors into the
discourse. There is, because it doesn't belong. And no, let me not go off this tangent. Let me not. Basically, they say that this idea of positive constructive daydreaming, like, I've been doing this my whole life, so
I feel like that is what so much a lot of researchers. With psychology.
This is what I was gonna say.
Okay, go on, you say it.
No. I was gonna literally say, like, I swear, like, somebody in, like, some Native Americans, or this is not something that's new. How is it that it's Jerome Singer?
It's not. How do you spell Singer? Maybe that is someone of color.
Singer.
Damn. Don't sound like somebody of color. Not somebody of color. Someone of the global majority. But I think a lot of what happens with well-being, especially well-being, science, a lot of this, right? Indigenous people have been doing these things. They have been doing these things, and white Western media, white Western researchers, all of this type of stuff, they then go and they're like, oh wait. Those backwards primitive people were doing something. Let's just pick it out, change the name, and say this is what we've done. Now we have researched it, and we have scientific evidence, and we have done laboratory. What do you call it? What do you call them? Laboratory. Like lab studies, laboratory studies, under controlled conditions, under this very sterile, and therefore we have decided objectively, because we are the people who determine objectivity, and we're the only people who can tell you something is objective. Actually, this is what's helpful for your mental health. Well, people are already doing that, actually. And then you destroyed all their history and lost all of that stuff. And now look at you coming up with a new idea. Back to full circle.
Girl. Honestly. Like this. And even the concept of, like, why say positive constructive daydreaming? Because, like, be for real.
BFFR.
Let's be frank and let's be Lampard. It's daydreaming. JK! Anyway, let me tell you about positive constructive daydreaming, y'all. In case you didn't know. I'm actually being serious. I'm not trying to make out this person's work. So basically they say, as opposed to slipping into a daydream, which is like falling off a cliff, you must parachute into the recess of your mind with playful and wishful imagery. Perhaps you're lying on a yacht, floating on your back.
That's daydreaming.
In a pool on vacation. Then comes a swivel of attention from looking outside to wandering inside. So, cognitive rest?
No, for real though. Why is this particular thing positive constructive daydreaming? Like, what makes it positive and constructive as opposed to daydreaming about a life that I want? Is that not then inherently positive constructive daydreaming? There must be. I'm sure he has some points about maybe what the differences are, but
I just think they just confuse things, and they put a lot of where they make it like, do you know those things where you make something so difficult to read when in actual fact it's literally a simple.
It's the way it sounds like it's part of that whole thing that we talk about like the making academia like separate from separate in like this high level class of knowledge and understanding and credential and expertise.
And that's why, like, when people say, like, there's nothing really new. Like, there's nothing new.
No.
There is nothing new.
No.
So, other ways that you can cognitively, like, rest. I think rest, the different types of rest, they all kind of essentially incorporate the same techniques. However, I think it's really, the important part is understanding what is it that I need to tend to. And then kind of tending to it appropriately.
Yeah.
So for me right now, I feel like academically burnt out. But I'm like, how do I even deal with academic burnout?
Stop academically burning out.
Screaming.
Duh. You need to positively, constructively daydream.
Girl, I do that all day, every day. So, and then you call it.
So you're resting. Not procrastinating.
So what's a girl to do?
Read a book.
Girl,
barefoot walk.
Take a cold shower.
No, but for real, take cold showers.
Honestly, yeah, no, for real. Take a sensory rest and cognitive rest is quite similar. Taking a cold shower is so healing. It literally allows your body to like, it forces your body to slow down. Even like when I was working on NICU, if we had a baby with a brain injury, we'd literally make them cold to slow down the brain activity.
Wow. And
then rewarm them.
That's
I'm a smart girl from a professional.
From a professional girly.
From a professional. May no one ever tell you I'm not clever. See, academically burnt out, but still knows her stuff.
Period.
And yeah, what other rest have we not talked about?
So the second to last,
drum roll, please.
The second to last rest type that we will talk about is creative rest. A lot of us are creatives. A lot of us are creatives, first and foremost. But in this capitalist world, in this hamster wheel of life, we have to figure out ways to get ahead and to not live in squalor forever. And so, like, if we're creative people, a lot of the time that means that we can utilize that. We can use that to advantage and monetize on the creative thing that we are doing. So if that's art, maybe like selling your art. If that's writing articles and blogs and whatever it is, whatever creative outpouring that you do it in a way to get money. And I think that can lead to, that ends up leading obviously to creative burnout, because it's like if you're doing something out of, like, I think necessity, it takes that passion and that love out of it to some extent. And I think creative rest is not also about just creative. It's also for people who work in roles where they are constantly problem solving and they have to think about all these different creative solutions. So like I think that can encompass a lot of different roles. So it's not just about specifically this immediate creative, I don't know how to say that, like what you would assume immediately is creative. That it's not just that you can get creative rest from. Anyway, solutions. Go on.
I was gonna just add to your point that there's a video I saw on Instagram, and this guy was basically saying how, as a creative, you want to create, obviously, but with we live in like a day and age, capitalism again, right? You're no longer creating from your heart, you're creating for validation.
Yeah.
And that really like, that literally, first of all, strips the creative out of it, and then it becomes again a job.
Yeah.
And so kind of navigating and kind of trying, it's so hard to kind of break away from that framework that many social media outlets have created, because at the end of the day, if you want to monetize, if you want to make money from your dream and like your side hustle, you do kind of have to juggle and like perform for
and work to deadlines,
which is really hard. But do you know what they said like, as a creative or somebody who's trying to go into that industry, trying to stay as authentic to your own being and creating art because you want to create, rather than like the looking at the numbers and all those things, which is hard, and kind of having people just like you for you. Striving for that is so much more important than striving for being like that viral person or all those different things, because that contributes a lot to that burnout. Trying to just keep up to all these trends that are constantly changing that aren't controlled by you.
And I think you can, for me anyway, I think I can experience like a lot of anxiety around it, and that just ends up leading to me like being unable to do anything at all. And so it's like, I guess like a sort of block is I guess what you refer to it as. And it's like, because I know I have to, it's like I want to do this thing, and I want to like, you know, like write in this particular way and upload this to this schedule and like this line. It just creates like so much anxiety. And then it's like, whereas when I was doing it out of like a genuine like creative flow and a genuine space of inspiration, it's like that gets taken away to some capacity. And it's rough out here. But some of the ways you can creatively rest are by taking breaks. Utilize your annual leave. So this is not something just for creative rest. This is something for emotional rest, for cognitive rest, for social rest, all the rests, physical rest. Take your annual leave. Being sick is not just being physically sick. If you're feeling overwhelmed, if you can't, take a sick day. Use your annual leave, guys. All of that. Take your breaks. Also, during work as well, when you're actually working, take your breaks.
That's on my guide this evening. For this week.
Take it. Go on. Sorry.
I was gonna say, like, I found that I work from home now. Spoiler. And that's something that I'm struggling to like enforce. In terms of like having those boundaries with my time. And saying like, this is what I'm gonna do. This is how long it's gonna take. I'm gonna step away from whatever I'm doing, and literally get some fresh air. And you know how I was feeling the other day? I think this whole working from home thing, I love it and I enjoy it. But it's definitely creating like a lot of anxiety of being outside and like being, just a bit of a risk taker. Because when I went away to the Lake District, guys. I was kind of like, so I followed Google Maps to get to where I was going. But then there was this route that was like, following paths and stuff. And I had this overwhelming anxiety to do this. And I'm like, that's not me. That's not the kind of person I am. I'm one of those, I love an adventure, risk-taking. JK. But anyway, I decided, I was like, I'm going to try and follow this route because I'm like, why the hell not? And there's clear signs. But I was like, I'm by myself, I'm a black woman in a space. There's so many things.
Girl, emotional exhaustion.
So many things I was going through, and I was just like, what if I get lost? What if I literally disappear off the face of the earth like that girl from Black Mirror?
Well,
anyway,
I've got you and find your iPhone, so I'll find you.
Sweet me.
Don't
what
you
if
worry.
It's stolen. Anyway, I'm back here. Came back in one piece. Went off the beaten path. Despite the anxiety.
Yeah.
And you're just going out, being that intentionality of like being outside, especially as we are like such, not even just working from home, because even that anxiety, like you can go from one place, like if you go from A to B 5 days a week, and that's all your interaction, it can still be hard to.
You can. And I think we have even more generally, I think we have a reliance on technology to navigate our way through all of life. Before I go anywhere, I need to check for the reviews. I need to check for the online menu because I don't want to be there and then I'm having to find something.
Looking at TikTok, what it looks like.
What are people saying about it? Does it look cute? Do I want to go? What's the vibe? All of these different things, like we have become really reliant on technology to.
We have no life skills. Going back to NCS.
Get your maps out, kids.
Screaming.
Let's do some map orienteering.
Who knows how to use a compass?
I did Duke of Edinburgh. I did Silver Duke of Edinburgh, actually. But on your point of taking breaks as well, I think even at work, sometimes, I mean, I feel this less now because I'm not around as many people at work, but when I used to be in an office with like loads and loads of people, I would feel like I'd be looking around, or even like going home, it's 5 o'clock and no one is moving. I'm just looking around, I'm like...
I'm screaming.
I'm like, it's 5 o'clock. Is it okay if I go? Because nobody else is moving. Can I just switch? Can I log off my laptop because everyone is eating as they're working? I want to watch Netflix. I don't want to look at the screen. And it's so normalized that I feel like I'm the one doing something wrong.
Girl.
Do you know what I mean?
Girl.
So, girl, take a break.
It's crazy.
Go outside.
It's crazy.
Get lost in the wilderness.
It's absolutely insane that this is what... It's insane that we are the people that are like, hang a diddle.
I know. It's truly wild.
But you know, I think this whole idea of like not resting, it messes up with our intuition. It messes up with our ability to make correct. Do you know when you're operating from like that whole description of you're operating from a space of like lack or low energy, you're obviously going to make bad decisions. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're more susceptible to making bad decisions because you're not operating at what you should be. Anyway.
Yeah, no, it's true. And I think we discussed it as well, that idea that part of figuring out rest as well is, to your point, trusting your intuition and knowing that the gut reaction that you have about things, most of the time, it's correct.
Yes.
And I think when you're exhausted, in whatever capacity that is, those signs, you miss them. That's...
And it's just, it's really sad that we're in a society that actually just kind of promotes burnout.
It does. It relies on it.
It relies on burnout. It literally works you to the very like end, and then like, oh.
What do you mean you're taking 4 sick days? What do you mean? You've only got 3 a year, babes.
Screaming. Honestly, it's insane. Honestly, this culture of burnout is just not normal.
It's not. It's so... And I think this is what is so difficult about, like, finding coping strategies, like, and not finding them, but, like, the discussion around, like, figuring out how to cope in this ridiculousness is because we are having normal and rational and justified and valid reactions to everything we are experiencing. Like, of course we are exhausted. Look at the world. Look at the state of everything. Like, actually.
We had to live through a whole pandemic and we're just supposed to just,
go back to work. You know what's so... You will find remote jobs and then they'll try to be telling you, oh no, it's not remote. But you advertise it as remote, so why is it not remote? So you're actually actively lying. Like, the lies... Anyway, that's not the point. Creative rest.
Creative rest.
So, taking breaks when you need them. Doing things that inspire you. So, like, if you might want to pursue a really fun hobby that you've had your eye on for a while, Maybe you go to the theatre, watch a play, listen to a musical. I love good musical. I love the theatre is a great place. I love going to spoken word place like poetry and like watching people sing and going into nature, you know, just listening to people talking about things that inspire them, and that can be experts, but it can also just be friends and it can be strangers and things that just rejuvenate you. You know, when you feel like, oh my god, like that excitement for life, like that inspiration, whatever way that is, do it. And in terms of like that, feeling that like creative block or whatever, also maybe carving out time or like having periods of time when you're just like playing, like just creating for creating's sake. You're not publishing it anywhere. You don't have, if you decide to in the end, then that's obviously your prerogative, but just for yourself or for your loved ones, just exploration and play. That's an important part, because when we are constantly producing to be productive, we've already talked about why that is. But yeah, I think those are some things you could do in creative rest. And last but absolutely not least is spiritual rest. Clap, 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 clap.
I was gonna say with creative rest as well.
Sorry.
No. I think this is something that we've talked about. I think it's one of those that is making that hard decision to be like, okay, I'm gonna take a pay cut because I can't continue working like this. Do you know what I mean?
You're gonna what? Take a pay cut.
Take a pay cut to like work part time, and like just.
But what if the money you're getting barely covers what you're doing?
But then the thing is, like, do you know what I'm learning recently? It's like something's got to give, because if you're doing things the same way, if you're doing things the same way and you're getting the same result, something is clearly not working. Yeah. So
it's not you because you're working a lot.
Like, because do you know how there's certain people who will always be like, yeah, I took a step back and then everything just literally fell into place, and I was like, do you know what I mean?
Me, please, me next.
Like, please, maybe it might be very difficult, but also there is that it's also important to consider, like, maybe I need to work part-time. Maybe I need to do, just choosing that radical difference, like, that's going to, like, cause such a massive shift that it puts you whether in the mindset or just creates that space for you to be able to just show up the best version of yourself.
It's hard, guys. It's real hard.
It is very hard.
You know, we're preaching to the choir. You know what I mean?
Girl,
we're preaching to the choir.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that it links in really well with the spiritual rest, because we've already touched on this. Really, it's spiritual rest first and foremost looks different for everybody. That could be spiritual rest for me is solitude. However, when I was reading about it, it was finding community that aligns with your being. For those people who are religious, it's praying, it's meditating, attending services. For those who aren't religious, have I said meditating?
You can say again.
Screaming. It's meditating, journaling, like you said. Just finding different mediums, because there's people who are like, they use crystals and all these different things. So finding that medium which you're able to channel your energy into and just somehow replenish those sources of energy. Yeah. Yoga. I talked about yoga.
Yeah. I think community is a really big one for spiritual rest.
And also just trusting your instincts, like that gut feeling that you're talking about. Like, your body is like made up of so. What am I saying? Like, your body is made up of so, not just you. You're not just you. That your intuition is your ancestors. It's God. It's a higher power trying to tell you something. So honor it, and honor it. Don't ignore it, because one thing about life, it will teach you the same lessons over and over again. And those, like, lessons, they become more painful. Like, you know, the more times you have to relearn the same lesson. It becomes more and more painful until one day you literally just have to like, okay, I hear it.
Yeah.
I need to stop.
Something's gotta give, and it's gonna be you. It's not the universe.
It's not
gonna be God.
It's not gonna be God. It's gonna be your mental health, and you need to figure it out. And that's why like community does play a really big role within spirituality, because whilst it's your intuition on the inside, it's also those people around you who are reminding you of your boundaries. They're reminding you of you.
Yeah.
When you forget that.
It's catching up with the girls.
Yeah.
Catching up with the girls, catching up with the boys, with the they-thems, and just feeling enriched by being around other souls and feeling that connection to others. Because capitalism will make us alone, will make us lonely, and yeah.
It's crazy out.
It's super wild out here, but we've got each other, guys.
We do.
And lean into the people that you can, and they will also lean into you.
Yeah.
And then we'll all just like have this nice little pyramid of support and perfect foundation and structure, and we shall all soar.
Amen. And that leads us nicely onto our lazy person's guide to saving the world.
Need.
And saving ourselves. What's yours?
Mine is, speaking of the lady who kind of, I guess, I don't know about started, but is credited for a lot of the conversation around the 7 types of rest, Sandra Dalton Smith. I hope it's a she, because this person, Sandra.
Sandra or Sandra?
Sandra.
Fancy.
It's Saundra. Sandra. Yeah. So there's a quiz. It's called a rest quiz. I did it, and so basically it gives you scores on the different specific categories of rest, and
share with us your results.
Okay.
Do you want to share your results?
Yeah, I don't mind.
That was easy.
Because we've got them right here. The highest one I had was...
As in the most tired?
The most tired I am. The one that needs the most addressing was emotional rest, which I understand. I get that. I got 38 and... 30. So the categories, the scores are within 0 to 15. You're getting adequate rest in this area. If you score 16 to 25, you're experiencing rest in this area, but you could thrive with more. If you score 26 to 35, you're feeling the effects of lack of rest and you need a change. If you score over 35, your life is negatively affected by your lack of rest in this area.
Yikes.
So for my emotional rest, I got 38. That was my highest one. So I am definitely experiencing some negative effect in this area. The next ones were mental rest, which again, understandable. Then it was spiritual rest. And then it was, oh no, I missed one, creative rest. That was my second highest, which I completely get. And so on and so forth. None of them were, I'm not receiving good rest in any of them, is the long story short. But
she needs a trip to Bali, okay?
Yes, Lord, I receive it. I want it. I got it.
Sprinkle.
So my love note is, if you are maybe wondering, maybe you're just curious, or
screaming if you're curious.
No, because you might have an understanding of the different types of rest that you need, and the way that you can effectively rest for yourself. But if you don't have a clue, and you want some pointers and maybe where to begin, what to look at, maybe try this quiz. If you just type in restquiz.com, it will take you there. Simple. Simple. So yeah, try doing the rest quiz today, because apparently I'm being paid to advertise them.
I'm not being paid.
I'm not being paid.
Yet.
In the name of the Lord.
You heard it
Amen.
here first.
So yeah, that's my short and sweet action point. What about you?
So mine is I've gone and written like a long note, but it's not even that long. Do you know how we're talking about habit tracking last episode?
Yes.
So again, on that blog that I read by, I think it was Dina de Bandra.
Thought it was Dory.
Not Dory. It's Diana Ibarra. Anyway, so basically they said, while rest sounds like a passive thing to do, it's something that's active. You need to be intentional about it. So my action point is schedule rest. Be intentional about your rest. I am coming at my hairline right now. I am dragging myself for filth. Schedule rest into your schedule. Schedule rest into your schedule.
Table it in. Fit it in. And pencil it in.
Pencil it in. Do you know someone was saying, set an alarm to take 5 minutes, and I'm like, if I heard the iPhone alarm trying to tell me to rest, that would literally just cut. It's just
the whole 5 minutes would be me trying to calm down from my anxiety reaction, my anxious reaction to that alarm.
Yes, so I think where would be a really good place to start is take Danny's quiz, figure out what type of rest it is that you need, and then schedule it in. So I've put examples. So the things that I do to try and rest, I've put 7 things because it's 7 days in a week. So spread them across the week. So I enjoy listening to podcasts. I enjoy swimming. I like sitting on my sofa.
Period.
This is something I should try and do. I should try and sit on my yellow chair in my room for at least 10 minutes in a day, and just like not do anything, not read, nothing, just look at myself and just like, yeah.
Listen to your thoughts.
Listen to my thoughts. Going for a jog. Huh?
Be mindful.
Or just exist, you know? Go for a jog. Try and eat before 7. Have a social media free Sunday, which has still not happened. Touch a tree at least 3 times a week.
Might be dirty though.
A tree?
What if you get a splinter?
Screaming.
Can I touch
Gen Zs these days.
I know, right? Can I maybe touch a flower with my pinky?
If you want to. If you really, really want to. And just kind of like nourish your body as well. Make sure like be mindful, be intentional. Like make sure you drink water, which I don't. I beg, Penny, why are you dragging yourself? Just nourish yourself so that you can create a body that you create a vessel which can also allow you to rest.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna be, in God's name, you'll be in this vessel's gonna house your soul for so many years. So look after it now and create better habits now, so that later on in life
you reap the rewards.
There was something I wanted to tell you, but I've completely forgot. Just remembered.
Fabulous.
That concludes our episode.
Lovely.
I wanted to say,
yes,
this is our 10th episode.
Oh wait, I always do that sound, but I don't think it's the one I think it is. I'm trying to express fanfare.
That's a doom sound though.
That's what I'm saying. I'm happy. Congratulations, Penny. Congratulations, Daniela.
Penny.
Thank you.
Look at us.
Thank you.
Before you know, it'll be on like 200.
Period.
Now, shout out to us for showing up and
Shout
getting
to
it done.
Girl.
Because this ain't easy.
I'm trying to stay on track.
The staying on track part?
That's a work in progress. And shout out to y'all for listening.
Shout out to y'all. We really appreciate it. I checked our stats the other day. And they were cute.
Were they sitting pretty?
They were sitting pretty.
Were they sitting silently for 10 minutes? Pretty.
Do you know what we need to do?
What?
We need to check our email. On our next, do you know what? On our next episode, we're gonna read all the emails that
I
we've
was
received.
straight. If we're not doing the segment, mind your business.
No, we're gonna email all our friends and tell them, y'all, you better send an email in yesterday. Best believe I'm doing it tonight.
Give him time.
Like,
I don't like billing. You need 5 to 7 working days, so better do it today.
I'm actually gonna message them tonight. Be like, by the way, here's our podcast email. Off you pop. Since you've not been listening to this.
I know who you are.
I know who you are. I know where you live.
Hashtag taken.
Screaming. But yeah,
that's really. Yeah, we've come far. We've come a long way.
We've come for the idea to actually doing it, and we're doing it.
And we're doing it, and we're doing it well, I think.
From our
We're learning.
personal, professional opinion.
Indeed.
Does this mean we're gonna be millionaires?
Oh my god. I hope I'm rich. I don't want to be famous, but I want to be really rich. So I can have just like a chill
They
life.
say that really rich people are not known about. Anywho.
Oh my god, really quickly. No, unrelated. Not necessary.
Screaming! Look at her growth.
I know.
Growth from the first episode.
Look at me.
To 10th episode.
Look
Also,
at me.
editing is becoming ever so slightly smoother.
Easier, yeah.
And even, I'm not gonna say it. Let me shut up.
God. Don't shut up. Tell us.
Even the whole sound issues that we're having, they're not sound issuing. She says no while we're recording. But anyway, guys, should I say the thingies?
Yes. So where you can find us to send those emails
Like
and those messages, those direct messages.
We are, our Gmail is offdutypodsubmissions@gmail.com. And then our Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and all other social medias that we probably don't use and we will be using soon are at the Off Duty Pod. Yeah.
Full stop.
Full stop.
And on that note,
On that sexy note,
have a restful week
that's all right.
and
Catch you on the flip side. Ciao.